Yes. Then with this, not with my other problems, but yeah.
Good evening, everyone. It's February 25th, 2025. We're calling the meeting of the District 28 Board of Education to order. Chrissy, will you please take the roll?
Yes. Member Cassidy?
Here.
Member Arms?
Here.
Member Silvershack?
Here.
Member Baser?
Here.
Member Weinstock?
Here.
President Gallinson?
Here.
And absent is Member Beeftank.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next section is visitors' comments. We welcome visitors to speak. There is a 3-minute maximum to each person. There is not a dialogue, so you may present to the board, but the board does not respond to questions. It's not a back and forth. And each person can only speak once for 3 minutes. One final note is that the microphone is for the recording. It's not to be amplified. So just please speak into the microphone for those who are listening and viewing from home. With that being said, would anybody like to present to the board?
Okay. All right. Members of the board, Superintendent Pearson, and esteemed members of our community. My name is Cedra Kulis, and I have been with District 28 for 8 years as a blended early childhood teacher in our Young Explorers program. On behalf of my team, some who are standing beside me this evening, as well as myself, we are here to express our concerns about the trajectory of our program, as well as our hope that we can work hand in hand with the district to continue to uphold the beliefs and practices of the Young Explorers. As a team, we take pride in the supports and services we offer our young learners and their families, some of which are truly unique to District 28, and many of which are why so many families have moved here and sought us out. We have duly certified teachers, our own team of specialists who lead weekly activities within our classrooms, and we follow a blended classroom model. Our blended model is a model we followed since our program began in 2015. It's a makeup of 5 neurotypical students, 5 at-risk students, and 5 special education students. As a team, we believe this model allows for all students to bring their own strengths into the classroom and develop relationships that will benefit them far beyond their experiences in our program. However, if we are missing a component of this model, then we lose the integrity of our program. We need students of all learning profiles to not only uphold the values and tenets of our program, those of which the district had determined to be valuable when we first began, but to provide our youngest learners with meaningful experiences that help construct their foundation in every developmental area. As a program, we have seen the impact our model has had on students with varying needs as they learn and play with one another, whether they are in our half-day blended program or our full-day structured language and learning classrooms. While we know we will be here next year and beyond, it's about upholding our values, our mission, and our philosophy. We are asking for the district's support to ensure that our program is able to maintain the model and philosophy that we are so proud to have developed, nurtured, and provided for our community for the past 10 years. We hope that the district will help strategize with us the best ways to meet our community's needs, keep our program balanced, and adapt to the ever-changing dynamics that come with an early childhood program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Members of the board, Superintendent Pearson, and esteemed members of our community. My name is Kelly Breen, and I have been a speech-language pathologist with the Young Explorers program for 7 years. Young Explorers has been so lucky to have the support of the Board of Education and district. We have been fortunate to have the resources to support all the children in District 28, no matter what their educational needs have been. Within our structured language and learning classroom that I co-teach with a special education teacher, we have supported students who benefit from a full day of school to work on individual instruction as well as language skills since 2018. Our students have made incredible progress while in our structured classroom, but have also gained valuable skills by learning from their same age peers. Our SLC classroom is not an independent classroom, but rather a special education extension environment and we depend deeply on our inclusive opportunities with the blended classroom and our gen ed peers in order to generalize our learned skills to new environments and new communication partners. It challenges us and supports us in ways that our SLC classroom cannot support. Our students deserve to have access to typical peers and deserve to be educated within a district that understands how important inclusion and inclusive opportunities are for all students, both on IEPs and students in gen ed. That said, continuing to keep a robust and well-attended early childhood program for our gen ed population not only benefits those students, but ultimately all students. With enrollment of our blended students declining, we need the district's support now more than ever to ensure we have the students to provide those same age models. On behalf of our entire program, I thank you for your continued support.
Thank you.
Members of the board, Superintendent Pearson, and members of our community. My name is Katie Schwartzman, and I have had the privilege of serving as a full-time social worker for the Young Explorers program for the past 9 years. It's an honor to be a part of District 28, and I'm truly grateful for the opportunity to share just how special the Young Explorers program is to our community. As a school social worker, my role is multifaceted. One of my responsibilities is to observe students during their transition from early intervention to early childhood education by going into the local daycare programs and preschools. By seeing the other programs directly, I've witnessed firsthand the distinctiveness and strength of our YE program. Our students benefit from specialized instruction led by related services professionals, and they are introduced to the core characteristics of a District 28 learner from an early age. I also provide support to all students and families within the program, including our typical and at-risk populations. Having a social worker dedicated exclusively to the program is a rare and valuable asset. I support families through their needs ranging from an unexpected loss in the family to a difficult morning in the home environment. As enrollment goes down, my time may be allocated beyond the YE program. In addition, I lead the parent interviews for our free monthly developmental screenings, where I hear directly from parents about their needs and concerns. A common theme has been the demand for enrichment opportunities, as well as the need for a full-day childcare support for the blended students. As part of my role, I also act as a community liaison, helping families connect with local resources. In alignment with District 28's strategic plan, we're committed to meeting the needs of our community. And today, we're seeking your help to further these efforts. We're fortunate to have families both from our past and present YE program here today to share their experiences and needs with you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Scott Ottenheimer. It is so great to see so many familiar faces in front of me and behind me. I have 2 daughters who had gone through the Young Explorers program. My oldest daughter, Maya, who has special needs. She has what's called Williams syndrome. And my youngest daughter, Noah. One of the things that I did want to talk about is how important we thought the program was and how impactful my wife and I thought the program was, not just for our daughter with disabilities, but also for our typical daughter as well. So I believe that we got some of the best services from the teachers for our oldest daughter, Maya, who spent a lot of time in the SLLC room. That's what it's called? Yeah. And also Noah, who was able to experience meeting other kids, both similar to her and also a little different than her. And I commend the teachers and the staff and the board for such an amazing program. So I just wanted to talk about how great my experience has been as a parent and how appreciative I am of the teachers and, of course, the board and the administration. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Taylor Catalano, and I am both a former and future YE mom. My daughter Gigi had the privilege of starting the program just a few days after her 3rd birthday. Gigi was born with several health complications. She was premature, very small, and quite sick. For the first 3 years of her life, we spent most of our time in and out of doctor's appointments, seeing various specialists, having surgeries, therapies, medications, and much more. We genuinely did not know what her future would entail due to her delays. As we approached Gigi's third birthday, she was evaluated by the YE team and qualified for speech, social work, and physical therapy services under her IEP. This was a seamless transition from her early intervention services. As a former teacher myself, I was beyond relieved. Not only were we met with warmth, kindness, and support, but also with a well-structured plan for Gigi's growth. Gigi's start to school was tentative, to say the very least. We often described her as a deer caught in the headlights. She would share small bits with us at home, but not very much. We could tell she enjoyed it because she always wanted to go back. Over those first few months, she absorbed everything around her. That early boost from February to May laid the foundation for her success. By August, she was excited to return for the threes class, and that year she really found her footing. As a child who thrived around adults, Gigi loved spending time with the therapists and teachers, though socializing with her peers took a little bit longer. By the time she reached the fours class, it was as if she owned the place. We would joke that she was available to sub if needed. She was absolutely thriving. Throughout this journey, my husband and I always felt like we had an open line of communication, a strong support system, and a team that truly became an extension of our family. After all, by the time Gigi finished the YE program, she had spent half of her life there. I don't know what we would have done without this program, but I do know that Gigi wouldn't have been as well-adjusted, prepared, confident, or as eager to head into kindergarten at Westmore without it. We recently had Gigi's 3-year IEP meeting in January, and she has now been released from all services. While it was bittersweet to say goodbye to her incredible team, I am forever grateful for their dedication to Gigi and our family, and to all of the lucky children who benefit from this preschool program. This is the goal: giving our children an early boost, addressing their needs, and setting them up for success in the school setting. Though the needs of our community may have evolved, I strongly urge you to consider a new structure moving forward. Our collective goal should be to make this program accessible to all families in our community. We should all be so fortunate to have our youth begin their educational career in Young Explorers. Gigi's little sister Olivia will be entering the threes class in August, and she can't wait to be in the same building as her big sister. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Christina Nugent, and I am a parent to a current student of the Young Explorers program. Like many of the parents here tonight, I am here to support the continuation of this program for Northbrook's youngest residents. My son, who is currently 4, started with the Young Explorers last year. We learned about the program from our speech and language pathologists assigned to us through the Illinois Early Intervention Program. This was the perfect bridge we needed to transition from early intervention. What really struck us was we greatly appreciate the concept of the blended classroom. The kids with IEPs are never made to feel less than or different because they're receiving additional help, while those with IEPs get the benefit of having classroom interaction with the specialists. We also feel that it is invaluable for our son to have routine interactions with kids all across the developmental spectrum at such a young age. The YE program has put together an exceptional team of teachers, specialists, and aides. Together, they have created a supportive and fun environment for all of our children to grow and learn. The ability for these teachers to whittle down advanced, complex topics like art, the human body, and architecture, and making it palatable for young children is a unique and underestimated skill. An anecdote I wanted to share is my husband and I have been most impressed by the topics taught within the curriculum. For example, last year, the kids had a unit about art. They learned about some of the great artists, including Picasso's abstract art and Seurat's-style pointillism. As lovers of art and museums, this could not have excited my husband and I more. But what transpired from this unit has surprised us even more. Our son has asked us to take him to the Art Institute so that he could see the artists that he's been learning about. While going to the Art Institute is commonplace in our family, hearing your then 3.5-year-old explain to us how he believes that the painting he's looking at is Monet because he's famous for his water lilies, or walking up as close as possible to the Sunday at the Grand Jatte to examine Seurat's tiny little dots, it's an astounding moment. Because of this unit, our son's love for art has exploded. We read books about the greats, and he can identify their painting styles. We curate our travels to fit in visits to art museums, and even insisted on He even insisted on being Andy Warhol's Campbell's soup can for Halloween. These examples are not meant to be braggadocious by any means, but rather to express how transformative the Young Explorers program has been not only for our son, but also for us as a family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to speak to the board today. Thank you, Dr. Pearson. My name's Steve Jager. I actually went to kindergarten through 6th grade at Meadowbrook, and I actually came here to junior high for 7th and 8th grade. But I'm here to talk about the Young Explorers program and how awesome it is. And I think you all know it's awesome, and I agree with all the statements that have already been made. Led by Jenna and Marin and Katie and all the staff, is dedicated to helping children, and it's amazing. Why aren't we leaning in more on this program? This is a shining light of our community, and I think it's something that we all need to step up on. I walked past how much money we're going to be spending on building these new schools or what have you, but the bottom line is there's already a program that's already helping. I have 2 children. My 2 sons go to Meadowbrook today, 5th and 3rd grade, but they both benefited from going to the Young Explorers program. It was something that we didn't know about. We found out a little bit about it, and we brought my son Alex initially, who was having a tough time speaking, and he didn't really communicate very well, and it took him a little while. But it was what you've already heard, and the ways that the teachers engage the student to try and build up their confidence and make them feel at ease. That's why I think this program is so critical to our community. My son David had some speech issues as far as, just he could speak, but he had some issues. So, the team and really stepped up and helped him along the way. And it took a while for him, but he's doing great. Both of them are off the IEP programs, and I would thank District 28 for even having those programs. I know it's a state or program or what have you, but I just have to tell you, as a parent, and my wife's not here today because she's home parenting. She's an assistant teacher at Meadowbrook. We value District 28, but we value these programs that these folks dedicate their lives to our children, to help our kids grow up to be strong citizens of this community. And so I think we should lean in and help Young Explorers more versus evaluating how we can, maybe change it. And I think maybe we should hear from Jenna or the team, because, they're the ones that are really doing it every day, every minute. Katie was great at what she just said. Whether your child has disabilities or challenges, they're all treated the same by these amazing people. And I know you've all dedicated your lives to help District 28, and I hope you take a really strong look again at how beneficial this program is for our kids, for our future students, for all those beautiful schools you're going to be enhancing. It wasn't that fancy when I went to Meadowbrook, and we had a half-day kindergarten, and we went to 6th grade, and we only came over here for 2 years. But I know we've changed some things, and all I would just say is please, please, listen to the parents, listen to these teachers. Understand that this 10 years of this program, or however long it's been going on, is amazing. And we need to keep it. We need to find a way to fund it even more, and maybe expand it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't plan on speaking, but I'm just so moved by everything everyone has said. I believe one of the initiatives is belonging in our district. Am I right on that? Yes. This is where belonging starts, at the base level. I've had, my oldest is autistic, my middle was at risk, and my youngest is typical. They all belong. They all belong in Young Explorers, and they've all benefited from it. They all belonged, we are a Meadowbrook family, but we weren't actually a Meadowbrook family because last year we were told our LBS was moving to Greenbrier because consolidating resources. So my oldest goes to Greenbrier, and thank God I had held my second child, so now my whole family can belong at Greenbrier. It saddens me that the Meadowbrook children who are typical do not have the privilege of being side by side in a classroom with kids who have needs. It hurts my heart. I think it's wrong. The Greenbrier kids are benefiting so much from collectively seeing that their classroom can be full of every type of learner. They go to swim class at the Goldfish in Northbrook, and hey, it's Spencer. Wait, you know Spencer? I know Spencer. They just are one of the crew. And that's really sad when you don't have those opportunities as neurotypical kids to get it from the ground level. It's like no different because it's what they've always known. So if we truly are believing in belonging, then we need to support the programs that are doing that for our kids.
Thank you.
My name is Erin Prisbillo. I have 3 sons in the district. I just wanted to add 2 additional perspectives on the impact that the Young Explorers program has had on my 5-year-old son and our family, and probably just headline first by saying that the program has been a godsend for our family and for my 5-year-old son, and really has made the difference between him flourishing and floundering at a really critical developmental age. I first encountered was exposed to Young Explorers as I was trying to find ways to provide additional structure and support to him. I have 2 sons who are at Greenbrier already, and my youngest son was enrolled in full-time daycare because we have 2 full-time working parents. And as that daycare was going through a lot of turnover and not really providing the support that he needed, I started to talk and look at ways of kind of getting him that support. So enrolled him in the program. And first of all, when doing the initial screening process, was just amazed by the level of specialties and support that were provided there. But additionally, to the flexibility that the program has had in working with families and making things work for us. So for us specifically, obviously the reality of having kind of busing and finding solutions to make it possible for him to have access to the Young Explorers program was really, really critical. And I think the other thing is, because he was having a lot of behavioral challenges in his daycare program, having the flexibility to communicate and the willingness of the teachers to invest their time and their energy in communicating directly with his teachers. And I think one of the things that it illuminated as we've been working together is what are some things that are kind of more intrinsic opportunities and things that are environmental. And the difference between his experience at Young Explorers and other early childhood programs has been absolutely night and day. So, his experience outside of Young Explorers has not been good. And he really, the days that he does not have school at Young Explorers, you can tell what an impact it has on him because he is so terribly disappointed to not be able to come to Young Explorers. He looks forward to it. He's adores his teachers. I just love seeing how much he's lit up and kind of completely transformed in the couple of months that he's been able to take advantage of the Young Explorers program. And just my final thing is seeing how much he's thrived in the Young Explorers program makes me that much more confident that he is going to be set up for a seamless transition into kindergarten as a Greenbrier student this fall. So really excited for him and really grateful for Young Explorers helping to make that transition as seamless as possible.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Katie. I have 2 daughters who have gone through YE. My oldest daughter is in kindergarten now. She started with an IEP for speech. We went through some transitional issues with social work, and it was by the time I could bring it up, they were on top of it. They knew everything that was happening. They were working with her, making sure she was set and all good. I just think the program has benefited her in so many ways to blossom. My younger daughter was at a different preschool, so when she turned 3, it was not a tough choice at all to move her to YE, where I just feel she is atypical learning, but she's surrounded by all learning types, which I think is so important at a young age to surround them with everyone, and hopefully that can affect bullying less as they get older, because they're not going to see this kid as different anymore. They're going to see it as one of their own, because it's always been someone that's around them. She has flourished in the program already. She loves coming to school every day. I think that having the services for all age kids at, whether you're typical, atypical, whatever it is, having a social worker who can help when a kid is having a tantrum, frustrated, learning to take the breaths, the balloon breaths, the things like that, then having the support from YE to teach us to do those things at home and how to do those things is something you don't get at another preschool. And it's so beneficial to any 3-year-old, to any parent with a 3 to 5-year-old. And speech, every kid is learning speech at a different pace, and every kid needs a little bit of help. The services that they get, it's a no-brainer for every kid to benefit from those. Being in the community, talking to people all throughout District 28, when I talk about, YE and how great it is, so many say it's too short, it's not long enough. For myself personally, it's not long enough. For my kids to transition from YE going into kindergarten, you're going from a 2.5-hour program to a 6.5-hour day. That's a huge adjustment. Giving them extra support, extra time is going to benefit the kids educationally. It's going to benefit them just emotionally, physically, going from such a short day to a long day, that I think it'll give them that advantage stepping into the next year. I think it'll support the program and give so many more opportunities to so many more families throughout the district to come and experience what we've experienced. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Kevin, and this is Julie Righeimer. We currently have our son Matthew in the Young Explorers program, and also our 3-year-old daughter, Lily Righeimer. And hopefully I'm not viewed as comic relief, because the last time I was in front of an audience was doing a nice stand-up Family Feud at the office, so hopefully I'm not looked at. But I just wanted to point out that our EI person was a huge advocate for our nonverbal autistic son, Matthew. We visited many different schools and talked with a lot of different people but nothing compared to the Young Explorers program. The facilities, teachers, therapists, and social workers are all top of the line, and we love what Young Explorers has to offer both of our children. There are so many positive benefits to having our son enrolled in Young Explorers. His teachers are amazing, and it's apparent that they teach to each individual child. We love watching him run up to us after school with a huge smile on his face, and though he can't speak to us yet, it really brings us a lot of joy on a daily basis. I do have a couple anecdotes about Matthew that I'd like to share. One being that he had some trouble with transitions. So his teachers did a couple different things, but my absolute favorite one is that he'd be rolled around in an office chair that they found, and he'd be going to different classrooms like as if he was a king. And they all seem to are playing all along. No, they weren't playing along, because even the children in the classrooms were coming up to him and loving on him, basically, and giving him hugs and loving that he came to visit with them. So I love that office chair. He did graduate to a nice little pushing 3-wheeler, but still, same difference. The kids around all the school love having him visit. Oh, yes. So to wrap this up, as I'm getting the cue card, my son Matthew started here as a nonverbal autistic child, and now he's nothing but. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nana Kofu, and my son Jojo is in the Young Explorers program, and my son Abby is in 7th grade in the middle school. And I just wanted to share something really quick. My son was born at 28 weeks. He spent a lot of time in the hospital when he was born. And from 9 months, he had early intervention, lots of therapists. And I remember when it was time to transition him, we were really worried. And we visited the school, we talked to the people at the school, and one of his therapists, which we had from like 9 months old, was like, you guys are in a great school district. He's going to go to a great district school. I promise you this is going to be great for him. And I mean, we're new to it, so we weren't sure about it. And our son Jojo started. And if you know Jojo from when he started to the kid he is right now, it is unbelievable. Like he's had so much growth. His teachers and the team has made such a huge impact on him. His speech, which was one of the things which was really lagging, is so wonderful. He comes home now, he tells us about his day, whether he had a job or not, what he did. Like they know him. Like we see people around Northbrook and they're like, Jojo. Like everybody knows him. His teachers have been telling us about how much he's a leader. It's just brought out so much of him. And I think I see the difference because my daughter, who is in 7th grade, just got an IEP in 7th grade. And she didn't get these resources when she was younger. She was in a private school. A lot of the stuff that she needed, occupational therapy and all that, we didn't know then. And it's so hard seeing that now, and I wish she had that. I wish she had the same experience that Jojo is having now, and we can't go back. But I just know that this program, what it is now, has made such a tremendous difference in our child's life, and going forward is just going to make such a difference for him. And one day I hope to see him here, and he won't need the same services that my daughter needs right now. So I hope that you guys are talking to the team, because they make such a difference in each individual life. And he's about to go to Middlebrook for kindergarten this year, and we are so excited, but at the same time we're like, oh, maybe we need to keep him at Westmore because we know the team, we know the school, it's made a difference in his life, and we can tell. So I can't talk enough about it. All I can say is that I work as a social worker in Lake County, and I work with children under 3, and I work with families trying to get their kids to take them to preschool. And I wish they had these same resources that my kid is getting right now. Every day I see it, and I just say that, God, we are so blessed. So I mean, to the team and to the district, kudos. I hope you guys continue this program because it is wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jessie Essman. I'm William Essman's mom. I have a little bit of a unique experience to share with you tonight. When William was 2 3/4 years old, COVID was kind of at the tail end. We were all still wearing masks, and it was very important for me to find a preschool for him. So I went on Google and I searched for every single program within 5 miles of my house. And then for those of you who know me here, I'm extremely detail oriented. I then went and met and toured all of those programs. And so I speak with what I believe is a very unique perspective here. This is the best program in Northbrook for preschool. This is an incredible program. William, his homeschool is Westmore, but his needs were higher. And so he is at Greenbrier. He has flourished so much. He is an unbelievable student, drawn to the academics, and if he did not have the Young Explorers model, he would not be where he is today. He would not be so successful in kindergarten right now. He has flourished tremendously from having that peer model, the general education peer model that he had from being 3 years old all the way until he was 5. Was extremely transformative to him. So thank you so much for the time. Please continue to invest and nurture this super important program for our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is John Park, and I have 3 daughters and one who is in 4th grade at Westmore that went through the YE program. A middle daughter who is currently in the afternoon program, and maybe a third who might be in YE starting next year. I just wanted to say just a couple things. I wasn't planning on talking, so if this is kind of weird, it probably is. I would say about my oldest daughter who went through the YE program. You know, she went to daycare for a half day, went to YE as well. I will say that when we ask her about her teachers back in preschool, daycare age, she does not remember any of her teachers other than her YE teachers, so thank you. She remembers things from YE that she can't recollect. She doesn't even know what daycare she probably went to, which is just down the street. So kudos to that. The other thing I wanted to say about our second daughter, she was born literally the month before COVID. Obviously, she did not go to daycare before attending YE. We were very nervous about sending her into an environment where it would be her first time around kids. She literally probably did not hang out with any kids prior to attending YE just because of COVID. She is in speech therapy currently, which the teachers there are just been amazing. And it's a situation that really, when I think about it, breeds for a child to become withdrawn and nervous and afraid because she has speech issues, but also not being around children. But I really truly believe that the reason why she is, to me, striving and very confident is because of the instruction that she receives at YE. And that's just a lot of kudos to the instructors. I don't think she would be the same person as she is now without the YE program. I would love to see her around the instructors that she has right now, even more so. But I can honestly say that I don't think that we would have the same child as we do now without the YE program. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak?
Hi, everyone. I also was not planning on speaking at all. I do want to echo when someone said that this program is a godsend. That is how I describe this program for, especially for all the children, especially for my son when he first started this program, who is now a flourishing third grader. As incredible as the teachers and the staff and this entire program is, I also want to speak from a professional perspective. I'm a speech pathologist who's worked in a variety of schools for the past 13 years. I've also worked in hospitals as well as now I'm in a private practice in the community. I do have to say that there is no program that I've seen, but there's no program that can compare to this program, especially setting the foundation for learning for these little babies and watching them grow, watching my own kids grow, watching kids in the community grow, seeing a district that I worked in that is not privileged as we are here, and seeing how much they lack, especially as they get older, especially as they get to elementary school, what they are lacking from not having the solid blended foundation that supports every learner. And I do want to say, being on the other side of the table and going to IEP meetings now for students that are in other schools and seeing how other districts do things and being on that side, there is no comparison to anywhere else. So I really hope that you are taking everything that all the parents and teachers have shared into consideration because this is a very, very special place and program.
Thank you. If no one else would like to speak, we'll be closing visitors' comments. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
My name is Ashley. I have a 3-year-old Chloe in the program right now, and I'm familiar with Young Explorers because my older daughter, Madeline, who's in 1st grade, attended there. And how I came across Young Explorers is my older daughter, Madeline, when she was 3, was doing well in her preschool, but she was having trouble at home with social and emotional regulation. And someone guided me to Young Explorers. And as a mom who hadn't had a daughter yet in school, I feel like it really helped us not only find an environment that supported Maddie in the classroom and made her enjoy school more, but also made me feel just so much more confident and reassured that she was in the right place and had an amazing staff of teachers, but also access to, like the OT on staff, the social worker, and, it was things that working in tandem with things we were doing at home, because we saw an OT and we were talking to a child psychologist. And now that my daughter's in first grade, I feel like it was definitely instrumental in getting her to where she is today. And I was so excited for when my daughter Chloe turned 3. Westmore was the first place I took her to get evaluated, because I couldn't wait for her to also have that experience as well. And it's been just such an amazing program for both of my girls. I think to echo what many have said before, I really feel like we should be leaning into this program. I think when I speak to other parents who do not attend Young Explorers, it's because it's a very short day and many people cannot figure out how to work around the schedule. I know that there is opportunity for kids who are at risk to be shuttled, and that's great. But for kids who aren't deemed at risk but can still very much benefit from, like in my case, like the social emotional support, it's very expensive to then, hire a nanny or have additional support so that 2 parents can work from home or work out of the home or in the home. So I would just urge the board to consider supporting parents who want their children to have these kind of learning opportunities, but can't work with such a tight time frame. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, also was not prepared to speak. Thank you. I know this is a long day for everyone. I just want to say one point that I feel wasn't brought up, but I know applies to so many people in this room today, which is we relocated to this district for this program. We moved from the city when our daughter was diagnosed with a rare genetic condition to District 28 for everything Young Explorers gave her. We have a daughter who will be 3 this summer. Enrolling her in Young Explorers is a no-brainer for us. It will not be easy. We both work. It will not be inexpensive, but it is a no-brainer. Absolute, we will do whatever it takes to get her to Young Explorers, because the benefits that our older daughter received in the education she received, in the staff commitment, in everything that energy of all these people put into this, you will reap the benefit of in this community for years to come. We will be here. We will be a part of this community. We will give everything back that we have received because of Young Explorers. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I am Danielle. I have 2 kids. My son is Eli. He is in first grade at Westmore, and he attended the program for the 4s. I would like to tell you all about the different experience that we had for a 3-year-old program that he was in a private preschool, separate from YE. And after he went to that program, we realized it was not preparing him for social emotional learning, for speech, for everything else behavior-wise that we were seeing. And I wish that I had known about Young Explorers before he entered that 3-year-old program, but luckily I found out about it before he entered the 4s. And when he entered the 4s, he was at risk for speech. He still is, has an IEP for speech today. And I truly believe that this program prepared him adequately, even more so than adequately, I should say, for kindergarten. He is also a July baby. My daughter is an August baby. And I think talking about the fact that when you have kids who are in the summer, they sometimes they are a few months behind other kids, right? And it's really, really critical, so important to think about the fact that they are with other children who are several months older than them in the program. they are learning these skills. They are learning how to adapt. They are learning how to be in these environments. And it's so important for us and our family to make sure that our kids have a really solid, wonderful, social emotional place to be. My daughter is at risk for speech. Before, we actually just had our parent-teacher conference a couple weeks ago, and we have learned that, and we've seen this too, since the fall, she actually was developing a stutter last summer, and because of this program, because of everything that we're doing, she no longer has a stutter. She is coming home more confident than ever about playdates, about making sure that she has a place in her classroom. She's very confident. And I do not think that this would have happened had we gone with a different preschool program. I will also say she was in a different preschool program for the twos. And yes, they color, they paint, they do all of those wonderful things, sure. But in this program, they really, truly go through the motions of what it is like to be in a wonderful classroom environment. And they are there not only for social emotional learning, but also to make sure that they are prepared to be in a classroom, to understand what it is like to listen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Brandon Tessers. That's my wife Susan standing on the back of the wall there. We have 3 boys in the district, all of whom have, yes, nice curtsy. Our youngest just started at Young Explorers. He just turned 3. Our 2 oldest are now in kindergarten and 3rd grade, but both went to Young Explorers the entire time. And I was debating coming up here because I don't want to add to how we're going to all be staying. I just want to say I support and appreciate and agree with everything that every parent has said here today. I wanted to add that Susan is a teacher and a reading specialist. I am a therapist. I specialize in neurodiversity and neurodiversity-related issues. I've been fortunate enough to be able to work with corporations and school districts around the country addressing some of these things. And I have to be honest that I don't actually know entirely what is on the table tonight, but I do know that the Young Explorers staff called for support, and I would go a lot further and spend a lot longer standing against any less comfortable wall to come and support these people. Whatever they're asking for, give them double. I don't know, whatever it is. Really, honestly, I get to meet a lot of people. I went to a lot of IEP meetings myself as a professional before doing so as a parent. We were in a couple of them this morning for our 2 young kids. And as soon as we wrapped up, we took a moment and Susan just said, the resources. It is notable. And when people ask me about my opinion on things and when I weigh in on things, a lot of what I'm talking about is really modeled after my experience as a parent and as a member of this community, as a business owner in this community. I don't care if you got to raise my taxes or whatever it takes. I want to live in a world where as many people as possible are shaped as much as possible by these wonderful people and this wonderful program. Whether you as a parent are having the opportunity to put your kids in this program or as a community member living in a world where these kids next door to you grew up in this program, we all benefit from it. So just thank you to all of you for what you do.
Thank you. Seeing no other speakers, thank you for all of your presentations. We really appreciate it. And we are now moving on to the superintendent's report.
Great. Before we get into the agenda items on the superintendent's report, I do want to just say thank you to the families and the staff that came to speak about Young Explorers tonight. The Young Explorers program is a program that's very dear to District 28, and it's very evident by the stories that were shared tonight that it makes a tremendous impact on our community. And so for that, we're very appreciative. The board is also very committed to continuing to provide rich resources for this program. I think it was mentioned several times tonight that this is a resource-rich program, and it really is, because we believe in the investment in our youngest learners, and we'll continue to do that. At this time, there are not any changes planned for our program for next year. We will continue the same program that we currently have. I think one of the things that continues to be a challenge for us is our enrollment. As we look at the changing enrollment, and it varies from year to year. It does in Young Explorers, it also does in kindergarten, right? We only have a certain number of children that are at the right age to access this program from year to year. And as you think about our blended program and what that means in trying to have a balance of children in each of those classrooms and ensuring that we have that balance represented, sometimes that becomes a challenge for us as we think about balancing those classrooms. Also with the rolling enrollment that we have, because we have students that join our program when they become when they're the right age to enter the program. And so those things continue to be challenges for us. So we encourage you to please continue to talk to people in the community that could benefit from the program. We certainly would love to have them join us so that we can continue to provide strong blended classrooms as well as our SLLC programs as well. So thank you again for coming tonight. We'll continue to work with Dr. Scullis and Dr. Eberhardt to strengthen it in every way that we can. And we appreciate your support and the impact that it's having on our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next on the agenda tonight, I would just like to provide a brief update on the referendum. As you know, we are continuing to have some community engagement activities across the community to help people understand what some of the things are in the plan. In particular, we do have some direct mail items that are going out very soon. The 5-pack brochures. We have a couple of postcards going out to family members the 11th and the 25th. We also have several community member meetings that are happening across the community that we want to make sure that people are aware of. There's a community open house on March the 11th and another one on March the 15th. Both of those, is that not right? Terry's shaking her head. Wait, let me make sure the dates are right. I have March 11th and 18th. March the 11th and March the 18th. All of this information is on the district website. So if you want to know when and where and how we're meeting and what information we'll be able to share, it is provided on the district website, and we want to direct you to that as well. Terry, did you have anything else you wanted to add to make sure people were aware of for the referendum?
Well, this week I did send out a referendum update that was specifically on the referendum with the information, because I know there's so much. It's hard to share just in the newsletter. If you really want to dive deep into what the building plans are and how we came about, you can multitask and listen to the podcasts that have been produced. There's 2 of them. And also we're just adding facts to social media. You know, we're preparing for those community meetings. In addition to the 2 in-person meetings, we're also hosting a virtual meeting on Thursday, March 20th at noon. You have to RSVP to receive the link. The Google form is on the website, as well as it was sent out in the referendum update today and will be in the newsletters coming up these next couple weeks.
All right, thank you. I know I would forget something, so that's why I asked Terry to talk about that. I also wanted to mention, you probably saw some signs as you came in the door tonight that Michelle Jackson, who's our Director of Learning, has actually been recognized as one of the top educators in the state through the 2025 Illinois State Board of Education Those Who Excel program. She has received the Award of Meritorious Service, which is being recognized for going above and beyond in service to the school community. So we congratulate Michelle for that recognition. She will, I'm sure, be traveling to a banquet of some sort. Bloomington Normal. And when she comes back, we'll have her share her award with us so that we can celebrate with her again. So congratulations to Michelle for that. And yes.
Terry, can you get some of the kids involved in some of those podcasts and some of this campaigning at all? Is that appropriate?
Well, we are not involved in campaigning. We're only sharing information. So we really haven't involved the kids at this point. And in the podcast, we're really talking about the bigger picture and stuff. So It's certainly something we might be able to look into.
Well, and it sounds like maybe you have some ideas about that. So I can touch base with you and we can see if that makes sense and how that would fit.
I
Sure.
just wonder if parents would be more apt to listen if kids were the ones doing the talking.
Sure, absolutely.
That's the extent of my ideas, by the way.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you for that. All right, the last thing I wanted to talk about today was actually an introduction. We have Samantha Scheinman here tonight, who is going to be our new Director of Communications and Community Relations. Samantha, I'm going to let you come to the microphone if you want to introduce yourself a little bit. Samantha will be joining us in July when, unfortunately, Terry is retiring, but we are excited that Samantha is coming. She's coming to us from Barrington 220. She lives in our community, and we welcome her to the district. Samantha, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Pearson, for giving me this opportunity, and thank you to those, there's a few of you who participated in the interview process here, so thank you. I'm excited to get to know the team. I'm excited to get to work with all of you as board members. I'm just excited to get to know the students and the staff and parents and the community. So work with Terry on the transition and just continue all of the good work that's been going on in the district. So thank you.
I did mention, I think in my email to you about Samantha, that she's a Northwestern grad, so that is also great. So she's close to home as well, from school. So Samantha, welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome, and we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
And hopefully the board will be approving your contract in just a moment.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to approve the contract for the Director of Communications and Community Relations?
So moved.
Second.
Member Silvershack?
Aye.
Member Arms?
Aye.
Member Baser?
Aye.
Member Weinstock?
Aye.
Member Cassidy?
Aye.
President Gallinson?
Aye.
And absent is Member Beeftank.
Thank you. Welcome, Samantha.
Thank you.
We look forward to having you on board in July and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And that completes the superintendent's report. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is the approval of minutes, the regular and closed meeting from January 28th. Do we have any questions or comments on the minutes? Okay, hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Great. Member Cassidy?
Aye.
Member Silvershack?
Aye.
Member Baser?
Aye.
Member Weinstock?
Aye.
President Gallinson?
Aye.
Member Arms?
Aye.
And absent is Member Beeftank.
Thank you. Next is the approval of the consent agenda. Who had the bills?
I had the bills.
Sean?
So just gonna review them and everything is in order.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or items to pull out of the consent agenda? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Okay, Member Baser?
Aye.
Member Weinstock?
Aye.
Member Cassidy?
Aye.
Member Arms?
Aye.
Member Silvershack?
Aye.
President Gallinson?
Aye.
And absent is Member Beeftank.
Thank you. Over to Jessica for the finance report.
Good evening. In your finance packet were the financial reports for the month ended December 31st, 2024. Just to note, they're a little blended in that there's some from December receipts that were posted to January. We're working on untangling that at this moment, but it was still worth including the information in your board packet for tonight. Variance shows 44% of the current year's budget expended and 46% of the revenues collected. I am excited to announce we just received our first tax installment too, so our spring taxes are starting to come in. For our food service sales, our food service continues to do a great job downstairs, and they're offering to students and turn to profit again for the month of January. Our our year-to-date surplus is just under $20,000, in which we are noting and will invest in future cafeteria improvements ideas. We received our preliminary insurance renewal. We're looking at a 7% increase in our PPO, a 7.3% increase in our HMO program, and a 4.1% increase in dental. No increase is proposed for vision or life insurance. What the numbers show is that we do continue to be insulated by our usage of our insurance program, by being a member of our cooperative, as our loss ratio was over 100% in all of those lines of coverage. So we would be looking at even larger increases to premiums if we were out on our own. And then we'll have our final numbers at our April meeting, and a list of some of the things we've done in the business office since the last time we met.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Jessica on the financial report? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the financial report?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Member Arms.
Aye.
Member Weinstock.
Aye.
Member Cassidy.
Aye.
Member Silvershack.
Aye.
Member Baser.
Aye.
President Gallinson.
Aye.
And absent is Member Beeftank.
Next is the 25-26 school fees.
We are only proposing 2 changes to the school fees for next year. The first being our transportation fee. We plan on, we are still currently negotiating with First Student. We're hoping for a 3% increase. So that's what we're looking to pass on to our parents as per our February 2020 transportation fee plan, and increase the summer music lesson fee that aligns to the teacher compensation in that line item.
Thank you. Any questions?
Jessica, would you please explain how the bidding for the busing works, and how that the cost of the busing then is, how that has increased and why? I think that's important for people to understand.
So in 2020, we were met with a rather large increase to our transportation services. We historically have bid them as a township, but we all experienced, and many of us remember, the hardship that caused to our families, and that we were sharing buses with other schools in the township, and so our buses were not always available when they needed to be. So part of bidding several years ago was to separate from the township and each individually hold a contract. Over those years since 2020, we have seen large increases. Our last increase was a 6.25%, 10% increase prior to that. We do bid it periodically. We are currently in contract renewal negotiations with First Student. We're hoping to be able to come in at a decent rate at 3% increase. Is pretty typical for what we're seeing, the data I've gathered with other school districts for their contract renewals for next year. The fee we charge for our parents is a very small percentage of the funding that goes into our transportation services. For instance, it's, right now the bus is just under $200 a day to run one bus, and we run 40 different runs. So it's a small percentage. When in 2020 we struggled with how to share the fee and to best take the impact of the increase, and came to this conclusion that we would increase the portion that the parents pay, which is just a portion of the total cost for transportation, and pass on that contract fee increase.
So when the fees for families increase, that's a result of the increase from the bus company?
Correct.
Okay.
So roughly what percentage of the cost of an annual student bus fee does the parent pay?
So I'm not going to do quick math on my feet right now.
Okay.
I will get you
I
that
don't blame
answer,
you.
and we will share it.
I
I'm
wouldn't want to
sorry
either.
that I don't have that in front of me.
Don't worry about it. Thank you.
So, most of the fees are not changing, as you noted, and I'm curious, are the underlying program costs for those items, are they not changing because the costs are gonna be consistent, or are some of the costs going up but we're keeping fees the same?
The latter. Costs of materials and services have continued to increase with inflation across the way. We're trying to minimize that impact on our families by passing on those fees. Transportation is an agreement we had several years ago on how to share that cost, and we continue to look at the fees we incur and try to get the best pricing available. So we'll try to minimize how we pass on some of those fees to our families.
Thank you. Any other questions on the school fee schedule? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the 25-26 school fees?
So moved.
Second.
Member Baser?
Aye.
Member Cassidy?
Aye.
Member Arms?
Aye.
Member Silvershack?
Aye.
Member Weinstock?
Aye.
Member Gallinson, or
Aye.
President Gallinson, excuse me, and absent is Member Beeftank.
Thank you. And the final item is the CDW contract.
Sure. So Maria helped spearhead this as the Director of Technology here in the district. Annually, we do our E-rate filing, which is eligible for certain services we receive and have in place. And this is federal funding. It provides a 40% discount on those fees. So the items listed are things we need for our infrastructure, and CDWG continues to be the most competitive bidder on our projects for equipment.
Thank you. Any questions on the CDWG contract? E-rate? Okay. Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the contract for E-rate?
So moved.
Second.
Member Silvershack?
Aye.
Member Weinstock?
Aye.
Member Cassidy?
Aye.
Member Arms?
Aye.
Member Baser?
Aye.
And President Gallinson.
Aye. Thank you. Human Resources, do we have any updates?
Just want to share 2 weeks from today, our District Wellness Committee is going to have its kickoff meeting, and we'll share a board update that week in our in your weekly board update. So just wanted to share that with you all. We're very excited. Thank you.
Thank you. Kelly, any update?
No report this evening.
Anything on teaching and learning this evening?
No report this month.
Thank you. And back to Jessica on buildings and grounds. Jessica, would you give us a little bit of a background on the MOU over the past few months?
Yeah, so in your packet for approval tonight is the Memorandum of Understanding for the Meadowbrook Gymnasium. As we've been talking in simultaneous with the referendum efforts, the need for a gymnasium at Meadowbrook will help alleviate some of the space issues. After negotiating our contract with DLA Architects over the last several months, we just approved the contract last month. So as part of that contract, each project we take on with them requires a separate agreement as a memorandum of understanding as part of that contract. So that's what's in front of you. This was dated November, so you'll note the timeline date outlined in the Memorandum of Understanding was at that time in November. We're a little delayed. We're looking at that bidding to be pushed to March, April period. And so we're just a few months off of where the initial MOU started.
Thank you for that background.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have questions or comments on the memorandum?
Just for confirmation, the source of the funds for that are coming out of this year's budget, is that correct?
It'll be spread over this year and next year.
2 years.
So right now, we're incurring professional service fees for the architect, but we won't start paying for construction fees until it breaks down, which is not estimated until after the summer.
Thank you.
So if I can add something, I realize that, the Meadowbrook has some of the biggest infrastructure needs. And, adding a gymnasium allows a number of flexibilities to help deal with some things, regardless of whether the referendum passes or not. I do want to point out, though, that, there are two scenarios here. If the referendum passes, this was always going to be sort of part of the plan. If it doesn't, then we have, in a 10-year time frame, roughly $20 million of capital spending that we had forecast for. This would take up 7 of that 20 million, give or take, to spend. And we have not gone through the discussion of, if that occurs, what is the priority order here? Is this the first thing we want to spend? Because there's a substantial chunk of that money that's being spent out. And yeah, obviously, there's a possibility it won't matter. If the referendum passes, that's fine. But I feel like we've skipped over that sort of prioritization step a little bit here.
No, it's a great question. So the $20 million we've allocated over the next 10 years are dedicated funds we know for HVAC and some necessities to the building. Also in that plan, and we've talked about before, is we're going to tackle other pieces as funding becomes available. If the funding is not successful through our referendum efforts, we may look at some shorter-term borrowing options to allow us to get that $7 million sooner, right up front, and then pay it off in a shorter period and not impact how that $20 million we have allocated over the next 10 years is used. So we're just like we're journeying down a path of the gym being attached to the old building or the new building, we're also looking at the funding. Is it referendum funding or is it at operating funds? It still is operating funds, but there may be a way to accelerate getting that money sooner. It's a great question.
Thank you. Before continuing further on this, then this other path, if you will, this other path for funding, this other potential debt service, clearly that's different than a bond issue that's being looked at in the referendum.
Correct.
And I don't expect you to necessarily have all the details in front of you for it, but in general, what are we talking about here? Because I'm not familiar with that particular instrument or the dynamics involved in terms of what it'll do with budget, et cetera.
Yeah, so it would be like a shorter term line of credit for schools. It's not that exactly, but it's synonymous to that. So you'd look at borrowing a smaller chunk of money and paying it off over a smaller period of time, but the funding is out of operating funds. That's the difference between what the building bonds through a referendum are.
Okay, so that's something that, is there a limitation to that? I mean, because if that allowance is there to issue debt, not really issue debt, you're not issuing your own debt, but whatever the line of credit is you're referring to against operating funds, is this going to fall within some sort of a limitation? Do we have something we have to worry about with that?
There are limitations in the amount of money and the some of the options we're looking at, and that the committee looked at, the facilitating team, is that they have dedicated funding sources. So we would take very dedicated funds like the money we receive from corporate personal property replacement tax. So that's, averages $1.2 million. It gets some of the money, but not all of the money that would address all of the needs in the 10-year facility master plan.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I maybe ask like a different angle on the prioritization question? So if we're in a scenario where the referendum doesn't pass and we have 20 million allocated to spend over the next 10 years, is the idea of this kind of line of credit to facilitate putting that money to use sooner, even though, right, it's 10 years from now before that kind of $2 million a year budget excess rolls around?
It's a possibility to do it sooner than later with that borrowing, but I'd have to rerun the numbers and work with our municipal advisor on what that would look like.
But I assume it's the case, no kind of high priority health or safety items are going to be
Correct.
deferred as part of that.
Correct. And within this next 10 years, should the referendum not pass, we're coming due. Our health, life, safety survey was done in 2017. We addressed all of the issues, so our next one would be in 2027. So in this next 10 years, we would have the opportunity to look at other health, life, safety issues. So there are other options, but again, we're only addressing those critical needs over the next 10 years.
Okay. And then maybe it's just switching gears to a different question. You mentioned that we're a little delayed already, which I realize happens with these things. Like, what would the current projected completion date be of this project?
We are looking at completion in winter of 2025-26. So initially it was sooner, like October, November. Probably we're looking December, January. Our goal has always been for it to be available for use for the 26-27 school year.
Okay. So when it's complete, does that mean they can, walk in and play basketball the next day? Is that-
Yeah, completion would be that date, yep.
And are there any, aside from the funding, are there any it talks about zoning in here, are there risks that we might not get the right zoning approvals or any other thing
So
like that?
we've been working through with the architects and a part of the planning and the agreement with them as they work with the engineers and the village. We've done soil boring, they've looked at the flooding, the water table, so we're walking through all of those steps. So far, we've not hit a roadblock.
And they're essentially designing it so that it can attach to the current building or attach to a new building.
Yeah, so one of the things that's of note is that the building codes now require that gymnasiums be storm shelters, so F5 tornado storm shelters. So what that means is that structure, it has its own structural integrity. So the four walls of that gym, it's really its own building. And so they have looked at how it would connect to the school. It won't feel like its own building. You'll walk down the hallway and there will be a wall there. It will be a brick wall, but it will feel like it's part of the school, but it really is its own structure. So the nice thing is that because of the way that it's built, we can easily have it connect to a new school, or where it's positioned on the property, there's just a natural connection with a ramp that would allow it to connect to the current building. Because as you know, Meadowbrook is on 15 different levels. And so it does allow that, you to be able to come up the stairs and then have accessibility to the gym.
Have you explored at all, I think you mentioned at one point exploring, some kind of sharing arrangement.
Yeah, so President Gallinson and I were able to meet with the Park District leadership and their board president. It's been, about 3 months ago now, before the winter break. They are very interested in partnering with us in some way. It's my understanding that because of our timeline, they didn't really feel like they could commit to a financial contribution to the initial construction of the facility, but that they would be willing then to look at a different kind of partnership, whether that be a fee structure of some kind, or cost sharing structure in the future. So we are hoping to continue the conversation, but it would look a little different than what we did at Greenbrier, where they put money in on the front end of the project.
Any other questions? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding for the Meadowbrook Gym for DLA Architects?
So moved?
Second?
Member Weinstock?
Aye.
Member Silvershack?
Aye.
Member Baser? Aye. Member Cassidy?
Aye.
Member Arms?
Aye.
And President Gallinson?
Aye.
And absent is Member Beeftank.
Next is legislation. Any updates?
Yes, I've got just a couple of notes here. Whoops, sorry. I wasn't ready. State budget was proposed, but it hasn't really gone through the legislature yet, so nothing much there. The other thing to note, of course, is the, how do I put this, the chaos currently occurring at the federal level, and we don't really know what the impact of that will be, but obviously it's something we should be keeping track of, even though fortunately for us it's only a small part of our budget for federal funding. There's various impacts it might have, so just something to watch.
And Dr. Pearson, do you want to just mention how we're monitoring that on a state, local, and federal level?
So, fortunately, we're a part of several different professional associations that represent districts like ours. So both the state superintendent as well as the state board, and then the National Association of School Superintendents, the School Business Officials Group, they're all kind of keeping an eye on the situation. They have legislative advocates that keep us informed. And at this point, we did get a message from the state superintendent last week that said, at this point, all of the action that's happened at the federal level really does not impact Illinois, because most of the structures and systems are state systems and not federal systems. So there's not been anything yet that has a direct impact on Illinois.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Anything further? No. Okay. Edward, on the policy front?
Just that we're anticipating policy issue 118 to drop, if you will, in April. And so when it does, we'll be sure to reach out to schedule a policy committee meeting.
Great, thank you. Eagerly anticipating the drop, yes. Thank you. It is exciting. Terry, any further updates on the communication?
I just want to add that the 5 Essential Survey is now open and it closes March 28th. We sent out our first inquiry with parents to respond, and I know we are all survey weary because the response has been limited, but we'll keep at it and try to get our 20% that we need for the parents, and then the students, they're a captive audience. And, you know, parents have the opportunity to opt out if they want to contact their principal, but generally students participate, and then our staff, and the information is very valuable for our school leaders. They really use it to evaluate the climate and culture and to make changes. There's certainly things going on at the junior high this year specifically that they took to heart from the results of that survey. So it is important to fill out.
Great, thank you. I know Chris is not here to give a True North update, but are there any updates that are of note?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. Receive a further update on next month. Any new business? Hearing none, we will now move to go into closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district or legal counsel for the district, including testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee or against legal counsel for the district to determine its validity as authorized by statute. Do we have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved. Second.
Member Arms?
Aye.
Member Silvershack?
Aye.
Member Baser? Aye. Member Weinstock? Aye. Member Cassidy?
Aye.
And President Gallinson.
Aye. We have no further business on the agenda after the closed session, so we'll be ending the recording with our thank you and appreciation for everyone watching and our audience here today. Have a good evening.